Hey amazing hackers, I'm TORHAT from HM Cyber Academy. We are going to continue with our incredible web hacking series. Here, you're going to learn hacking or you'll die trying. So let's get started. Welcome back to another web challenge, Natas 11. Okay, so let's get into it. So this is going to be very much interesting because we are going to do XOR encryption. Okay, so the cookies are protected by XOR encryption. So the clue itself says that it has to deal with the cookies. Okay, so keep that in mind. And there is one more thing that we need to take care of is XOR encryption. So let's see what the cookie looks like. Okay, here we can see that cookies have something called a data. Okay, so data parameter has this value. Okay, so let's store this one somewhere like this. Okay, so this is the cookie. So just by the first glance there is a percentage 3D here. So percent 3D which represent 2 equals to sign. Okay, so if you try to use URL decode in the burp suite or any other, this percent 3D represent to this equals to sign. So it is URL encoded. Okay, so once we have this encoded part, we can do something with it. So let's copy this one. Okay, so this is the cookie that we have right now. Okay, all right, so the next step that we need to do is, let's see the source code. Let's see what we can do with this. So all F's stands for white color, so this sets for background color. If you type 000, it has some other different color. Okay, so color doesn't matter with this cookies, I think so. So let's try to inspect again and see if it changes. So does it change anything? No, it doesn't change the cookie. So cookie is the standard, so it doesn't change cookies. So changing the background color doesn't affect the cookie. Okay, so it doesn't matter. So let's view the source code. All right, we have source code here. Let's go to that one by one. So initially we have a variable that is defined as an array. Okay, and then we have some function. We will skip that functions because functions won't be executed until they are called. Okay, so functions, we are skipping the functions, and here we have something called data, and here we are giving default data, which is this one. Okay, we are giving it and we are sending it to this load data function. So what does this load data function do? So here the load data function is there. So initially it takes cookie and it also takes that default data, which is this one. Okay, and then what does it do with it? What does it do with these two information? Okay, so it saves it into a variable called my data, and it also checks if the cookie exists. Okay, cookie exists, and in that cookie itself there is some parameter called data, as we have seen here. Now this one, as you can see here, this is the parameter that it is going to search, and this is the value that it is going to take. Okay, so let's go further. Okay, so once it got the data, once it got the cookie, so it checks and says yeah, it exists, and then the next line executes. So this is one of the important lines, because what it is doing is it is decoding everything. Okay, so it is base64 decoding. So this is the standard PHP function, which is base64 underscore decode, and JSON decode is another standard function. Okay, so you can directly Google this, you'll get some results. Okay, So these are standard functions. The only function that is not standard is this one. Okay, this we are defining. So do we have a XOR encrypt function? Yeah, we do have XOR encrypt function. And let's go further. We'll discuss about XOR encrypt later. I have to tell a little bit about XOR encrypt. So yeah, and it checks if it is true and then saves the data. This is the decoded data. This is completely decoded data, and it is saved into temp directory. What is it decoding? It is decoding the cookie. Once it is decoded, it has few things in it. Okay, this temp data checks if it is array first of all, and it also checks if there is something called show password parameter, and it also checks the bg color parameter. Okay, regardless of the bg color, I mean it can be anything. Okay, but the show password has to be something. Okay, let's go up. Here we have given like show password is set to no. Maybe if we set it to yes, there might be something that is going to happen. Okay, so how does it take this data? This data is taken from cookie. Okay, so we have to manipulate cookie in order to produce this data. Okay, right. And one more thing, and if this exists, it is going to check preg match. Okay, this regular expression match, and it also checks all of these characters. Okay, all these characters. It doesn't check the forward slash because it is a standard format. I have already showed in the previous video. Okay, this part is not included. Okay, this part and this part is not included. Only the content that is given here, only this part will be checked with regular expression. Okay, and it is going to check with bg color, and if there is something that exists, then it is going to remove it. Okay, so that means we cannot manipulate this parameter. Okay, so only thing that we have to manipulate is the cookie. Okay, and it is going to check this show password and is going to save in the my data. It is going to check this bg color, and it is going to save in the bg color array. Okay, and here we have something that is returning. Okay, the my data is being returned. Okay, so where is it returning to? It is returning to this position. Okay, and data is stored here. Interesting. So this data is stored now, and it is going to check this array, and bg color exists in the request. Request means this one. Okay, so it does exist. So it is going to check again with all these special characters, and if it exists, then it is going to be removed, or else it is going to print some bg color again back to here. Okay, it is showing here, right? So it is being shown here. Okay, and it is stored in the data bg color. Okay, so what is it doing with this data? So it is going to send this data to save data function. It is going to send this data to save data function. Okay, what is save data function? We scroll up here, we see the save data function, and what is it doing? It is going to encode and encrypt and encode again, and it is going to set it as cookie, that one which we see here. Okay, so this is the final output that is being saved data here. Okay, this is the final output, and once it is once the cookie is set, it's going to just set the cookie as it. And if we scroll down, we have something here, and if the data and show password is yes, only then print the Natas 12 password. Okay, so the data must contain the show password as yes. Interesting. So what are we going to do? So the thing we can do is we can manipulate this cookie so that once it is decoded, it is going to save it and it is going to check something with it. Okay, and it is going to send my data, and my data goes here. My data goes into load data. Okay, so load data, and here the data is stored. In this data must contain show password as yes. Only then we can see that show password as yes, right? So this is our task. So we need to play with cookie right now. Okay, so this is our final conclusion. So what can we do with the cookie? So we have URL decoded this. Okay, so let's copy this. Right, so for decoding purpose we have to do this following. Okay, so we have to base64 decode it. So let's decode it using CyberChef. So base64 decode. Base64 decode. Yeah, we got something. We can't even read what it is. Okay, so this we can consider it as some binary text, right? So what we can do next, we have to XOR encrypt it. So let's learn something about XOR encrypt, because it is to understand this we need to set some foundations here. So let's open some notepad and we'll see what XOR encrypt is. Usually there are a lot different types of encryption exist, and one of them is XOR, XOR encryption. So what does it do? So it takes each bit and compares it with something. Okay, each bit. Okay, if usually we have 2 bits, 0 and 1, it actually checks with each bit, and then the output will be shown here. Okay, but in this case the output is actually 1. Output is actually 1. The maximum number of combinations is 0 0 0 1 0 2, I mean 1 0 and 1 1. Okay, only when both are 0 the output is 0. Okay, you can blindly say that the output is 0. Only if something is not matching, only then the output is 1. Okay, this is how XOR works. So this can be some plain text, this can be some key. Okay, the final output will be ciphertext. Okay, in order to do the reverse, we can take ciphertext and key to get the plain text. So how do we get that? So we said 1 0 1 0, and if we take 0 0 1 1, this is ciphertext, this is key, and let's see the output. As we have said, if both match, then the output is 0 0, and if it doesn't match, the output is 1. Okay, do we get the plain text? Yeah, we do get plain text. So these two are interchangeable. Okay, what if we don't have the key? What can we do at that time? Okay, we don't have the key, we only have plain text and ciphertext. Can we derive key? Let's do this. Okay, we'll do another XOR operation. This is ciphertext, this is plain text. Okay, so ciphertext says 1 0 1 0, and this plain text will take 1 0 0 1, and let's see, these both will become 0, and this will become 1 1. Okay, this is ciphertext, this is plain text, this looks like key, right? So if we do have any two of these three, plain text or key or ciphertext, we can derive the third one anyhow. Okay, so we have derived ciphertext, we have derived plain text, we have also derived key. In our case, we do have ciphertext, which is cookie, decoded base64 decoded cookie, which is this one, not this one, this one. This is base64 decoded cookie. Okay, we do have this, which means this is the ciphertext, right? And do we have the plain text? The plain text, they say that it is JSON encoded and encrypted. Okay, so first we have to JSON encode it, and then we have to encrypt it. Once we have JSON encode this, we do have plain text. Okay, I'll show you how plain text looks like. So the main concept is this one. If we have any of these two, we can derive the third one. In our case, we have ciphertext, which is cookie, plain text, which is JSON encoded array, that the first line, which is default data. Okay, we do have these two. We have to derive key, and the next step, we use the ciphertext or we use the plain text and key to derive another cookie. Okay, and we replace the cookie with our cookie, and then we might get the solution. Okay, right. Let's get into it. So as we have discussed, this is the standard functions, and this is not a standard function. So let's open online PHP, where we can code PHP. Okay, php.io. We do have a sandbox. Okay, right. So we'll remove everything, and let's keep our data here, which is this one, and we'll see how it looks like. Okay, so this is the array. Okay, and let's end this, and what we can do is we'll echo something which is JSON encode. Okay, we'll output the JSON encoded data, because this is what is going to get into this cookie, right? Okay, we are doing JSON encode, so let's run this. And here we see that this is the JSON encoded array. Okay, here the password is set to no. Okay, so let it be. So what we are trying to do here is we are trying to encode this. So this is the plain text, and we are encoding and getting into this position, because this is where encryption happens. So this output will become plain text. Okay, and here this output will become ciphertext. Okay, so this output is ciphertext, and this output is plain text. Okay, so if we use plain text and ciphertext, we will derive the key. So what do we have here? This is the plain text. Where is it? This is plain text, and this gibberish is ciphertext. Okay, so so we'll use plain text as key to derive the key, right? So next we need to do is XOR. Okay, we'll just keep XOR, and here in the key we will keep UTF-8, because that's the standard for characters. Okay, and if I paste the plain text here, let's see what happens. Okay, interesting. Here, I don't know if you can see this, there is some text that is being repeated multiple times. Okay, so KNHL. Okay, this is being repeated multiple times. So this is being repeated something like this. Okay, so this can be key. Okay, so what we can do now is we'll just remove this one, and we will create a new cookie. Okay, so this time the password is not set to no, the password is set to yes, and the key that we are using, how did we derive this key? The key is derived using ciphertext XOR with plain text equals to key. Okay, now what we are doing is, since we got the key, we will use plain text and key to derive ciphertext. Okay, and this ciphertext will be the cookie. Okay, so we need to change something in the plain text. Okay, so what do we need to change? So we'll go back to the initial position. Okay, we'll remove this, and this will be our plain text, right? So here we need to change from password no to yes. So why? Because at the final, the show password is set to yes, right? So it has to be set to yes, only then we will get. And what do we do with this? So we have the key, right? So first of all, we are encrypting this. Okay, so this will be the cookie, and this will be the data, and this data is being JSON encoded. Okay, JSON encoded output is this one, and the next step is XOR encrypt. Okay, let's see XOR encrypt, and the key is this one. This will be the key, and it is not hex, it is UTF-8. Where is this? UTF-8. We got some output, and what do we need to do with this output? Okay, we have to base64 encode that output, and we get the cookie. Okay, so base64 encode, where are you? 64 to base64, right? Yeah, we got something. Okay, so this is our new cookie. Okay, this is our ciphertext, and this is our the base64 encoded ciphertext. Okay, so this will be our new cookie. So let's try to replace this cookie with our original cookie. Oops. And if you replace this one with this one, and if we just reload this, yeah, as you can see, the password for Natas 12 is this one. So as you can see, the cookie is being taken, and it is being decoded, and it is being stored in the temp data, and the output is sent to my data, and this my data is going into load data, which is this one, and this load data is being stored here, and this data, in this data, we are checking data of a show password parameter, and it is set to yes. So what does it print? It prints the password for Natas 12. So this is what happened. Okay, right. So the main takeaway here is that you need to understand how the XOR encrypt works. Okay, so XOR encrypt works the same way in every condition. So if you have any two, you can derive the third one. Okay, all right, I hope you get it. I'll see you guys in the next video.